I've been forced to wear, certain items because of the sponsor or whatever. And those are never the best shows, because I'm, constrained rather by what is asked to be delivered, even though I'm not in my best, space. But go ahead, Chris. I saw you about to make a comment.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you in a shirt and tie at anything.
Who?
No, I don't think so. That's not a negative because I'm sure you'd whip it anyway. But I don't think I've ever, at least when you and I have done stuff, I know I've seen you in a blazer, but I've never seen you in a shirt and tie.
Yeah, man, that's so don't give me no tie for Father's Day if y'all listening.
My casual approach to getting the kids dressed kind of feeds off of my casual approach to getting myself dressed. So I've often had that conversation with my wife about why they're wearing jeans again. That goes with an outfit. And I think for me, what it boils down to is I'm not going to be that good with my daughter's clothes, especially if I didn't pick them out myself when shopping. Mm-hmm. My wife usually does all of that, and I'm happy to let her have that responsibility. Now, if I had a son, it'd be a different story. But believe me, I want my kid to have the freshest looking shoes because that's one of my favorite things. And like I said, I wear jeans a lot. She can wear jeans. If she's going out with me, either one of them, we're probably going to be similar. If the entire day was left up, we're probably going to be similar.
My two boys, the older ones, one of them, my first one, I was real preppy. Like I said early on, I stayed in the collar shirt and all that. He went the exact opposite route. He was like, I'm never putting on a suit. He didn't like any of that. He always dressed in black, almost goth-like, right? My second kid, he did exactly what I did. He wanted to be prepped, and now he's got his own style. But what's interesting about that, because you say your daughter, my daughter's gay, and she dresses. She actually wears my clothes. And I didn't expect that at all. So whatever. Like my style is pretty much her style, except according to her, mine's a little cornier. Because dad.
Of course.
But it's interesting though. It's like when I'm buying stuff, I'll send her a pic. I'm like, hey, I'm about to get this. What do you think? And she'll tell me what's in because she don't want me to be lame, right? But she also might say, okay, get one for me too. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
That's kind of cool.
When she was younger, she dressed more like a girl. And, I was like, all right, I'm buying dresses and all of that. But that ended when she was like around 11, 12. From that point on, we're sharing clothes.
My daughter, we would watch the football games together, my oldest daughter. And we would watch wrestling together on TV. So she wants the T-shirts for the wrestlers. Her favorite wrestler is Sasha Banks on Monday Night Raw. And she loves the Saints, of course. So she had to have a Saints T-shirt whenever we were going out to get some. So of course I bought one for her and I bought one for my youngest. And she's very proud to wear those when the games are on or whenever she feels like it or something Saints themed at school. So I think those aspects do exist. The rest of it is all her mom.
My daughter is 14. And she is a hoodie girl. She loves a good hoodie. She will rock the same hoodie, every day if she could. But at the same time, she's very, very, she's an artist as well, so she's always painting. So as she's painting, the clothes that she does consider to be her quote unquote good clothes. That's why you rarely see her in them because she's always trying to get a brush in her hand and paint something.
I hear that.
But she orders. I mean, every time I get these Amazon pings to my phone, it's some sort of hoodie of some.
Man, there must be something with that. Like my kids wear hoodies. It could be midsummer. They're wearing a hoodie. What is that?
It's crazy, and now she's into the K-pop. And these type of folks for Monster X and And some of these influencers on, these Instagram influencers and all these folks that have these channels, so she'll rock some of their merchandise, and she'll hit me up. Dad, I found some new merch. Boom, and send me the Amazon link. Send me her whole cart. Like hook that up for me. She's 14, 14. Right?
Oh yeah.
Now my son, who will be 10 next month, he is extremely stylish. Extremely stylish. Like, the tennis shoes need to be wiped off. Like, they have to. Now, I will say this: he's a sweatpants lover as well, so he'll wear sweatpants, but with a fly shirt.
All right.
You understand? The shirt might be super duper fly, but he's gonna be in sweatpants and some very, very, very clean matching tennis shoes. Like, so he's a mixture of comfort and style.
Yeah. We call them sweatpants. They call them joggers.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Skinny joggers too. Skinny joggers.
Yeah.
Y'all remember being like that when we were young? And the shoes had to be clean. You had to wipe them off with something.
Oh, I wouldn't even say young, brother. I would say up until maybe a little bit after Hurricane Katrina, maybe a year after the storm. I would ride around with a fresh pair of G-Nikes in my trunk, just in case I rolled up on a second line or something. You understand? If I rolled up on it, I was gonna throw them G-Nikes on, them fresh, clean white ones. So I could.
I'm there with you there. I keep a clean pair of tennis in my car to this day, just in case my shoes are too dirty, the ones I'm wearing presently. I have a fresh pair of Nikes, a fresh pair of Pumas in the back, ready to go.
Doesn't matter what kind of shirt you have on, your shoes.
Yeah, the shoes got to be right, bro. You could be in a dirty white tee or an undershirt that's ripped, but you got to have clean tennis shoes on and clean drawers. Look, my mom said, in case you ever got to go to the hospital, make sure you got clean drawers on.
Everybody.
I wonder if that's a New Orleans thing, man.
I think it is, bro. I don't hear it nowhere else.
No.
But I know, between Jazz Fest and Essence Fest, those are two very different outfits that are going to be worn. But at the same point in time, both of them will probably have a fresh pair of kicks.
If it's Essence, if it's Jazz Fest, if it's the block party, I got to get a shirt. Even still, if it's a certain event coming up that I'm about to DJ, I'm going to go find a shirt, at least a shirt.
Yeah.
Because I got my favorite pair of shoes. My dad was going to be the best dressed bargain basement finder of outfits that you wouldn't even know. He had the closet full of suits. They were color coordinated. The shirts all in the same space. They were crispy white or crispy blue or whatever fancy color he felt like wearing. But he was never going to go out and spend X amount of dollars on those outfits unless he wanted to. He would rather spend his money on a nice pair of leather shoes with the leather soles, not the rubber soles. He don't wear those.
Hard bottoms. Yeah, hard bottoms.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had to be hard bottoms. Crocodile, snakeskin. When he had those moments, that's what he was going for. But he would go into Marshalls and he'd ball till he fall on the discount. So I took cues from that. And one of the biggest lessons I learned was he took me shoe shopping. He's like, look, I'm not going to spend more than $50 on a pair of shoes. So, of course, me being the hard head that I was, okay, these are $49.99. Let's go with those all-white Scottie Pippen. But to this day, I'm the exact same way. If I can go get 10 shirts for $100 versus 2 shirts for $100, I'm going to go get the 10. It makes more sense to me.
I don't care where I get it. As long as the material is right and it fits right, I'm getting it.
The thing that I notice with my kids is that they are individuals. They don't dress like me at all. They do their own thing. My oldest kid is similar to what Terrance was saying. He'll wear a hoodie in the middle of July in New Orleans in 100-degree weather, not sweating. I don't know how he pulls that off. Then my youngest one is always in Jordans. He always has his Steph Curry outfits on. The only day that we have the same style is when the Saints are playing.
How has those conversations about, whether it be pandemic or protests or police or repeat, how have those things come up in your conversations with your little ones, and then also inside of your artistry as well?
We've been on it for a while, like especially with my like my daughter. My daughter, she's gone to a few of the protests.
Yeah, she's a little revolutionary. I know that.
She really is. Yeah, she is. She teaches me sometimes. She's always sending me little TikTok videos of quotes that people are saying, proactive stuff. It's pretty straightforward. I guess it's always been like that with us. Where I've raised them talking about the system and systemic racism and how that and showing them how it oppresses in every stage or every in every corner. So it's an ongoing conversation. But as far as my art, it's a little trickier for me, right? Because there's some artists who paint things that are let's say are negative, right? and sometimes you need that because it's the same reason why you go and watch a scary movie. Sometimes you need to visit that side. My artwork tends to be I focus on the positive, almost like the hope of a situation, or what I want to put out into the world is when you move past what you've been dealing with or some tragedy, then my art nurtures you into that state where you are feeling good, and so I try to. That's why my art exists, right? So with this movement, we're not at the point where we are beginning to heal and feel nurtured. So my content, it's hard to come up with content in that domain, So I've been thinking a lot about what to do, because there's a piece that I'm actually supposed to be starting on today that uplifts and it shows the reality of the movement. So I think that's that sweet spot, because I think if you go all the way left or you go all the way right, you miss the mark. There's this point where most people want to be, and it's just sort of this middle area where sweet spot, where that's a sweet spot where you're expressing truth. It's like truth is kind of in the center,
But the thing I tell my kids is success is to me is sort of like revenge. You know what I mean? And it's also a form of protest. If we stop doing what we're doing, then we sort of are dropping out of this movement for black people, black men in particular, right? So we have to continue doing whatever art it is or whatever our profession is, and we still have to do it 100% more than the other person. But that success is also a form of protest. And then I also tell my kids, look, being from New Orleans, I'm sure y'all know when a bad situation is about to jump up. You can feel it. You can feel when something bad is about to happen in the air, right? So I tell my kids, look, when you're in a bad situation, figure out a way out of it. Figure out a way to get away from it quickly, because you don't want it to escalate into something that becomes a situation where somebody might end up hurt or killed. But also be aware that there are bad actors out there.
I always vowed to make sure that my children were not going to be unaware of who they are and how they should see themselves before they need to worry about how other people are seeing them. So I love that my child is living in a fantasy world at 7 years old sometimes. And then other times I just want her to be so focused on the reality of life that, she does, like Khalif said, she's got to be smarter than the next one. She's got to know where she is at all times, and especially if she's not with her mother and her father, and she's with somebody else, that she's all right and that she knows what to do. So I haven't had to break down certain things to her that are really out there, but I've taken that energy from it and wanted to make sure that she was informed to an extent about what's important about being a Black little girl, and then being a Black woman when she gets older, and just being Black in general. I believe all of those things are important to empower her and to take that stuff and make it last from this point forward. It wouldn't make sense for it to be left off the table in the discussion. And I don't think it would be fair, but I'm still trying to protect her. I'm still trying to protect her to an extent, because I don't want her to walk around here being disappointed and upset with those images that we're seeing and having to absorb. That's hard enough on me. I don't want that to be hard on her. I'm dad. I'm supposed to absorb that pain. I don't want her to go through that pain. But I feel it's important for me to be here so that she can continue to see and have those discussions with me versus what could potentially happen. And I hate to think about that, but it's the truth. I want to be able to come home and so that my kids can see me as they grow up, and that nothing happens that shouldn't happen. So that's my focus in that instance.
It's funny because my daughter, in one sense, I said a while, maybe 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, one of her friends saw me at the Gay Pride Parade, right? So I was there in support of me. If we gonna fight against any oppression, I'm gonna fight against all oppression. So I was there in solidarity with some folks, and one of her friends, I guess, or somebody saw me, and like later on at school was like, "Oh, I saw your dad at the Gay Pride Parade," and she kind of hit them with that, what I just mentioned. She was like, "Well, my dad just fights oppression, so it don't matter what kind of oppression it is." So I'm like, okay, so she gets it. I must be doing something right. You know what I mean? And then with my son, like you said, it's a bit of a different conversation around the fact that I need him to understand, as small as when he was 5 years old, I needed him to understand. I think we had a conversation around why I don't like him. He likes to play those alien shooting games. He shoots the aliens and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, listen, it's cool to shoot the aliens and everything, but I want you to understand your presence around firearms and what that's going to mean for you, even if it's just playing with a Nerf gun or something like that. We got to talk about the story of Tamir Rice, and and then he asked me, at that time, had I ever shot a gun? And I told him that I own a gun because of the tone of our existence in this country, and then it's characterized by brutality, and the majority of society sometimes sees us in this race war that we didn't ask to be in. But police and political folks and prosecutors and crimes get whitewashed, and we have to have those conversations. And I tell him I don't want him to be afraid, because I'm going to ensure that he is well educated, is self-disciplined, is learns self-defense and weapons training, and if the world has happened to choose to fear him when he becomes of age or before he becomes of age, that they'll have a reason to, because he'll be that well educated and that well put together as a person, that he'll be bold and brilliant, and diligent and polite and powerful. We have those conversations, and I thought at one point that those conversations had to be separate between my son and my daughter. Like Chris, I was thinking about, oh yeah, protection and all that kind of stuff, and my daughter needs to be this, but it has to be the same conversation. It has to be the same mindset and the same energy behind how I treat them both and how I raise them both. And I think, both of them will be as powerful as they can be, because they live in this time. I think Brother Akeem Olaj he has this poem that he reads where he talks about being a black person in America. I'm forgetting the quote. Being a black person in America is to have all the legs in your bones be broken, but still be expected to stand. Right?
Yeah.
And like every time something like this, write an article or speak on a panel, and I'm really, and as these conversations get, smaller and smaller, the time that lapse in between this, because I think the last real uprising we had was like 2016, and now it's 2020, and we got another one. It's like the times is getting smaller and smaller. So hopefully, the more uprisings we have, these conversations will be less likely needed to be had, and we can put those this energy around this abusive relationship we are in with this country, and to the forefront. Now, youth can take it and change, really, really change the world. So I appreciate y'all comments, man. I appreciate the way that y'all raising y'all little ones to be conscious, but also be cognizant of who we are and why we are. Man, I appreciate that. Good black fatherhood, Lord. Good black fatherhood.
All right, fellas. So I'm going to play some videos for you guys.
So with the current state of events that's going on, oh, sorry. Hey, babe. We just wanted to tell you how much we love and care for you. You are a provider. You are our lover, our friend, our confidant. You are everything that the world should be aware of in a black man. You are everything that the world should be aware of in just a man itself. Without you, things would not happen. And so we honor you today because we love you so much.
Hi, Daddy. We love you very much. And on Father's Day, we honor you because you are a loving and caring black man.
Gosh,
I can't remember any good huggies.
Happy Father's Day, Father. I just want to tell you I love you and thank you for everything you've done for me. And I still don't know what I'm going to get you for Father's Day, but all I want to tell you is I love you, thank you, and salute.
Day to my husband, Terrance Osborne. We appreciate you and we love you.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Tearing up over here. Damn, Khalif. Thanks, bro.
Beautiful.
Golly.
That's right.
All right, so
Wizard
this is
pulling
my
strings.
All right. Man, thank y'all so much, brothers, for joining us in this conversation, man. You gentlemen are phenomenal individuals as well as fathers. But I do want to ask you guys, before we get out of here, let's talk about, a little bit about what's coming up next for you. So, Terrance, what you got going on, brother?
Well, since the pandemic, my gallery was closed. I just opened it about 2 weeks ago, kind of soft opening, only for a few days. So I'm just getting the ball rolling again. My gallery's been open for about 3.5 years now. So as far as anything I have going on, opening the gallery, plus I'm working on a piece for the movement, as far as future projects that I'm working on for myself. I have commissions, something with Tulane, stuff, but nothing that I would like to announce other than what I'm currently working on.
The next thing for me, which has been my most consistent work, is since the pandemic started, is Pass It On this coming Tuesday. They've been doing their regular shows like they were doing the first Fridays every month on Tuesdays fairly regularly. So I'll be DJing before Pass It On starts, and folks come in for that and stick around afterwards. We always do a little after party type situation where I'll DJ for a little bit more and we have a little fun and let loose. This is going to be the busiest week I've had since the pandemic for DJing. I've got a meet and greet with somebody who's running for judge locally, a Juneteenth party on Sunday, and a birthday Zoom party on Saturday night, all in the next week. And I know things are going to start booking again, so I'm going to be taking some bookings for that. If anybody wants to reach out to me for that, contact me at bookchrisstyles@gmail.com. STYLEZ for any, whether it's Zoom parties or anything else. We'll talk about the particulars for social distancing where necessary.
What I have up next is what we're doing right here with Curb the Runway. I have another sort of crazy show with Jay Barone that's on Facebook. And I'm working on a movie critique show that I'd like to do as well that'll be on Facebook, which I might want to talk to you guys about, because I was thinking about having movie critic show with people of likeness, you know what I mean? And I want it to be sort of a round table where we have some fun and we talk about like Netflix specials and that kind of stuff that people don't usually critique, but I want to do it in sort of a round table fashion. So that's coming up. I also have another show called Beyond the Pole that'll be on, I think it's going to be on WeTV, and it's about strippers who are getting away from the strip club. So that's going to be one that's going to be broadcast pretty soon. And several shows coming up, you know, TV shows. So I try to stay busy and take the projects as they come. You know, and I'm trying to create more projects now as opposed to being hired to do projects, you know. So I'm more on the executive producer side, which I'm really starting to enjoy a lot more than being out in the field on reality shows.
I am the Chief Creative Officer and Artistic Director and Artist in Residence for Ashe. We have, of course, this is Juneteenth season, as the aforementioned Juneteenth. For those who may not know, Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day. The day commemorates the announcement of the abolition of slavery. January 1st, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, but our ancestors did not get the word till 2 years later in 1865. So every June 19th, we try to celebrate the ancestors and our folks receiving their freedom. Juneteenth starts that Maafa season, and Maafa is a Kiswahili word that means great tragedy or horrific tragedy, and refers to the period of the Middle Passage or the transatlantic slave trade. So we at Ashe, being an African-American, African diasporic center in the city of New Orleans, which is the most African city in the United States, we always try to make sure that Afrocentrism, Afrofuturism goes to the forefront of our thinking inside of how we embrace community, human, and economic development within our community. So you can hit up the AsheNOLA.org website, get all the phenomenal information and all the things that we got coming up. Unfortunately, all this stuff will be virtual celebrations because of pandemic and social distancing, but I still think that we're going to be able to honor our folks in the right way, even if we got to do it online, because you see what we can do online thanks to Brother Khalif and Curb the Runway. So we thank y'all so much for joining us. This is the Father's Day edition, and I hope that y'all had a good time talking with us. Khalif, I think you're on to something with this one, brother. It might not be the round table. We can call it the brown table. No,
hey, I like that. I like that.
I like that. The brown table. Hashtag the brown table.
Yes, indeed.
Man, thank y'all so much. Curb the Runway. Again, this has been the weekly fashion and quarantine web series brought to you by Curb the Runway. And thank y'all so much for joining us, and peace and love, y'all.